Ladies and gentlemen, Battlefield 6 Battle Royale is coming, and it's coming a lot sooner than I expected. Something my wife is all too familiar with. But no, seriously, the Battlefield 6 Battle Royale is known. It is admitted by the development team to be happening. They have public, private playtests happening within the labs program, but everything else is supposed to be a secret, and it is the worst kept secret in gaming. And we're going to be talking about a lot of the leaks that are coming out with Battle Royale. Now, I can't show you some of this because I absolutely will get DMCA'd, but a lot of these things, one, I think are so important that we need to start having conversations about that maybe the development team can listen in on. And two, as someone who's seen a bunch of this footage, who's participated in a bunch of other labs playtests, I cannot confirm or deny whether I've taken part in any Battlefield Battle Royale playtest, but what I can tell you based off of the footage that has hundreds of thousands of views, if not millions of views across Twitter that many of you have seen and that I get bombarded with every time that I stream, there's some legitimate concerns about the Battle Royale. Some I'm going to be able to dissuade or alleviate you of those concerns simply by explaining some of the stuff that I've seen in these public leaks. Others, I'm kind of with you, and I might have a little bit of concerns as well. And we're going to talk about that, starting with the very first one, and it is the launch date. The launch date, according to Modern Warzone, and he typically doesn't tweet things unless they are founded, and I'm starting to hear more and more rumors of this as well. I personally don't have any inside info on this, is October 28th. And I tweeted out earlier this week saying that if this launch date is true, October 28th, they will not only have the full premium release of Battlefield 6, they will then have the Battle Royale launching before, 2 weeks before Black Ops 7 launches, which I think is going to be, I don't think it's going to be the backbreaker or the final straw for Call of Duty. That game is invincible. People are still obsessed with the game no matter what happens to it. I'm up and down on it based on the state of the game. We're not going to get into that. That's a whole other conversation. I'm going to COD next this weekend. We'll talk about COD commentary in a totally different video. But I think that's an awesome move. It's a hell of a lot sooner than I thought Battlefield BR was going to launch, and I'm really excited about it. More the reason that I want to have these conversations, because one of the key things that I keep seeing, and people are spamming me about it, is in the Battlefield Battle Royale, people saw that there were tanks. And for Battle Royale purists, that is terrifying. But I have a few comments on this based on the footage that I saw that was leaked, and then also just my philosophy around this. And first and foremost, okay, we'll talk about the balancing of the tanks and what I saw and whether or not I think they're going to be overpowered or not. Let it be fun. For the love of God, we need to get away from this Battle Royale mindset of everything needs to be balanced, everything needs to be perfectly... Dude. You guys remember early Warzone days when someone would spawn in a Juggernaut crate and the Juggernaut crate would drop on the map and you would see it on the mini-map and you would just hear the miniguns spooling up? That was fun. If you were wandering around Al Mazrah and you had a black site pop up and you knew you could jump in, kill the Juggernaut, get the advanced UAV, get the 3-plate vets, the self-revives, like... There needs to be more things in Battle Royales that are... providing those amazing storylines. And I think that's what Battlefield excels at. And while admittedly, I am not super excited about the idea of a tank, and we'll get to balancing here in a second, if you overcome that or you get that tank, and I think it should be difficult to get, and it's just going to create an amazing moment inside of the game, and more storylines I think are exciting. And content is what you want to talk about. Those are what you're telling your buddies at work the next day. Those are the ones you're having good laughs over and you're raging over. If everything is just grounded, boring combat, I think that wouldn't be, one, true to Battlefield's identity, and two, I think it would be extremely stale over time. So let's talk about what I saw in the footage. So tanks seemed really frightening in a lot of the leaked footage that I saw, but they were actually really, really squishy. Like I had seen one clip where a tank was at like 75% HP and got one-tapped by an RPG from behind, or someone running up to it and hitting a couple C4s and blowing it up. The guns on them seemed really powerful, but the cannons, like splash damage of the actual cannon shell, seemed like it wasn't even getting hit markers. Like it seemed like a terrifying presence on the map, but it actually seemed like it was pretty squishy and that your team would be able to focus fire it down pretty easy. And then most importantly, it seemed like it ran out of ammo within like 30 seconds. So I think it's one of those things that it can provide those cool storylines, but if you truly do want to play around the tank, you're going to have to play that engineer role where you guys are going around the map, you're going through and you're picking up those. I'm sure they're going to have like the resupply stations. I think I saw a HUD icon. Obviously, I can't show you any of the things that I've seen from this leaked gameplay. There has been, I kid you not, probably like 6 hours of Battle Royale footage on the internet. That I've seen just pop up on my timeline. I'm not even looking for this stuff. But what I will say is, one, storylines are fun. I hope it's balanced. I think they're smart enough to know how to balance it. Two, it seems like they're pretty squishy. And it seems like there's a lot of utility across the map. It also, from the leaks that I've seen in the Battle Royale, there are class types. So you can jump in as an assault, an engineer, a recon. And there are different ways to mitigate the tank gameplay. So that's a huge one that I've seen a lot of people complaining about, but I don't think it's as big of an issue as it's going to be. Now, from what I've seen, there's another tweet here. It's more than just tanks, okay? According to this, you're going to have kinetic strikes, a prototype orbital firepower, devastating to structures, precise with minimal blast. That kind of reminds me of like a bunker buster in Warzone, but we have destructibility in Battlefield. There are power weapons, potentially railguns or miniguns. These are all hidden files from a leaker named Temporal. Airstrikes, anti-vehicle crates, artillery strikes, redeploy units, UAV overwatch, smoke screen, resupply drop, custom weapon drops. Again, this is the worst kept secret. If I felt like I was really leaking something, that would be like, oh my God, first news. Like, this stuff has been out for August 28th, over almost a month now. And footage continues to drop. If you're anywhere familiar remotely with the Battlefield scene, I'm not leaking anything profound here, but on the whole, I love crazy shit like this happening. I think this will make Battle Royales more exciting, more fun, less stale. Things are going to be less about who's using what meta weapon, and obviously it'll get down to that. Don't get me wrong. I'll give you the meta weapons for sure. But I think storylines and spectacle are going to be so much more exciting than just core gameplay. Now, when we have a ranked mode or when we have tournaments, we can carve some of this stuff out. We have the portal, custom servers where we can make custom servers where we can carve some of this stuff out for the Battle Royale. I think in the future, we'll have abilities to like create custom maps for the Battle Royale, or at least change the maps, terrain, the night, day or nighttime, weather. Dude, there's so much cool stuff with this game. I get so worried that people are going to tweak out over these little things. And that's why I'm making this video is, yes, on the front, things might look a little bit like frustrating, and yes, it might be frustrating to die to a tank, but it's cool. You will learn how to counter it. You will learn how to play against it. You will learn how to get it, use it, and abuse it yourself, and if it needs to be balanced, it'll be balanced. But let's try for some cool shit. I am tired of stale Call of Duty Warzone, and this looks fun. And that's what I'm most excited about. Now, real quick, this video isn't sponsored, but I do want to shout out a previous sponsor, Fume. They've sponsored a lot of videos throughout this channel. I had a video a couple weeks back that like bombed. It severely underperformed, and I like to do right by brands that I work with. So I'm doing them a solid here. If you guys are interested in Fume, it is a flavored air device meant to help you break a bad habit in your life. There's no nicotine, no vapor, no chemicals. It's basically just something that you can use, fidget with, pull through, the mouth to have that draw that you're used to for maybe another bad habit that you're trying to break. They're going to be linked down in the pinned comment and the description. I like supporting small businesses and other brands that I like working with, and I really like, and a lot of members of the Academy have liked this product in the past. I want to do them a solid. That video absolutely bombed, but I think it's a badass product. And if it's something that you might find interesting in yourself, we've had tons of members of the Academy that have used it in the past. They've had tons of success, as well as working with doctors in the past to prove that this helps people break their bad habit. It'll be linked down in the pinned comment and the description. You can use code Isaac for a discount off their journey pack if you want to check it out. Huge shout out to them for continuing to support the channel. We'll be working with them going forward. And I just wanted to kind of do them a solid, as COD and Battlefield have kind of had their ups and downs. Just wanted to help support what they do and appreciate them for supporting this channel for as long as they had. So check them out if that's something that would interest you. Now, moving forward, there's some other concerns that people had with the Battle Royale. So obviously the big thing that people are seeing is like, oh my God, tanks. Oh my God, helicopters. Oh my God, jets. I don't think I saw any gameplay of people actually getting in a jet. I think it was just airstrikes that I saw. I did see helicopters used as transport. I didn't see anything of them like potentially dominating, like tanks potentially would have been dominating. But again, it's Battlefield. We should expect vehicular combat. Things can be balanced for ranked. But at the end of the day, fun is priority. content's priority, having good laughs and telling cool stories. And I think that's what they're leaning into instead of trying to become sort of like esport. And I think that's the way it should be done. Other things that I saw people concerned about is the movement. Now this transfers over to Battlefield 6 as well, just the core multiplayer. And I've got some footage playing right now in the background, and it's of some Twitter clips of the Battlefield 6 beta where you could do some crazy fast B-hops, and it was almost like an Apex where you could continue your slide momentum. Now, I'm going to show you some footage right now. This is my footage of whenever I was inside of the early access gameplay. So this is me playing inside of the early access. This is not DMCA-able because this is footage that we are allowed to release and allowed to capture. This is basically showing how you can still move around the map pretty well. So you can still hit slides and play aggressive. You can still jump and you can still move. You can't chain together multiple slides in like any sort of like ridiculous, succession. What I will say is for COD players, it's like reverse. Instead of wanting to do slide jump, in this game, you want to jump into a slide and you will maintain accuracy. If you try, and you'll see I try it with some other guns here. If you try to jump, you have a really bad aim bob, okay? And 100% I will admit that. As I was going through the map, you can definitely move through and you can shoot and you can move aggressively, both in Battlefield 6 BR and, well, I would say in Battlefield 6, and then in the BR leaked gameplay that I saw, a lot of times, bro, you were looking at complete bots. You were looking at people that were so horrible at the game. It doesn't matter if they were playing, speed boosted Warzone, it would look boring just because the people that were leaking the gameplay were moving around like bots. Now, I will say, if the Battlefield 6 BR gameplay is anything like what we had access to in the beta, it won't be too bad. Now, I want to make a clear distinction here. When you take away snappy movement from Call of Duty, when you take away fluid, crisp, really dynamic movement from COD, it is an insult to the core foundations of that game, because that is what COD is. That is what we were born and raised on. It is fundamental to Call of Duty's gameplay experience. What we're seeing on my screen right now is true to the Battlefield experience that we've had outside of 2042. 2042 was a little bit, and everyone knows that. But like, if Battlefield BR gameplay is a little bit slower, I think that's fine because it fits the identity of Battlefield. You're not breaking the identity of the game. That being said, I still think we can find a balance where things like this slide still feel nice. I feel like I can chain together those slides really nice. But things like the jump penalty are gnarly. Now, I do want to point out, I'll play another clip on screen where this was addressed by the development team, where when you would step off little ledges in the beta, your gun would just have a major kick. Any ledge that you would jump off of, it would have a huge, dipping effect. At least right now, I don't believe that'll be a concern for the BR, because as you can see in this gameplay, as long as I walk backwards, that's better than what I have in Call of Duty Warzone right now. If I jump, I will get the Call of Duty Warzone jump penalty. But if I walk backwards, it is a laser. It does not move. Jumping, I think, is pretty gnarly, and I wish they would reduce it a little bit. Walking back, that is better than what we have in Warzone right now. Even strafing off to the left and to the right, you still fully maintain that accuracy and you don't have a harsh penalty. If you jump, though, it will be gnarly. So I think the movement concerns that people have for Battlefield BR are going to be the same ones that they have for Battlefield 6 Battle Royale. The map is going to be bigger, which is why I think there should be a little bit more forgiveness on things like jump penalties, maybe some sort of movement momentum, so that way we feel like we're moving across the map a little bit faster, because it's not like we're necessarily going to have access to all the vehicles or the rapid spawn points or the redeploy beacons that we're going to have in the multiplayer. I don't know how much they're going to separate the gameplay experience from the Battle Royale to the multiplayer, but regardless, I do hope they get rid of a little bit of the jump sway, because I do think that's going to affect the BR's gameplay experience. And more importantly, let's be honest, a lot of players coming to this BR are going to be COD players. And if it feels too clunky, even if it's true to the Battlefield's identity, if it's too clunky, it's going to piss off some Warzone players and they're not going to want to touch it. Little things like this are really clean and I love, but there's a few things that are like so gnarly. I want to stay true to Battlefield. I really, really, really do. But I don't want to scare away too many COD players. And I think they're trying to find that balance while maintaining true to their identity. And that's just a concern that I have. And I kind of want to share with you and see if they address moving forward. All right, let's talk about some other complaints that I'm already seeing about the Battlefield BR. Alleviate some of them and then continue this trend of also being like, yo, Battlefield devs, if you're listening, maybe we want to look into this. Right? Okay, the next one is Gunplay. Okay, so we talked about the jump sway. I'll consider that movement. We talked about the walking off and then scope bobbing. That was fixed. That's awesome. Gunplay, though, there's two things I want to cover. Okay, bloom and moving inaccuracy. So bloom, if you remember from the beta, as you prolong fire a gun, that first shot, laser accurate. Depending on the precision of the gun, it would be accurate, 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 boom, 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 kind of starting to go all over the place. Now, I like this system because at the very least, I can see my target perfectly clear the entire time. But if I want to shoot accurately, I need to fire in either tap fire or controlled bursts, as opposed to Call of Duty, which is, let me pull out my 100-round kilo, and just laser someone from across the map. I think that gameplay loop's annoying. I think everyone and their grandma can shoot straight, and I think it is a skill gap, a legitimate skill gap to have to do controlled bursts or tap fires. That being said, I think Battlefield needs to do a significantly better job of educating their players, whether it's a tutorial, whether it's a tip that pops up on their screen, whether it's an explanation of the precision bar under their screen, something. The thousands of players that I had come into my chat being like, bro, how are you shooting so straight? And all I would do is, and they wouldn't understand that I'm burst firing. There's a disconnect from the rest of the gaming world to what Battlefield's done and what will inevitably happen in the Battle Royale. And they need to lean forward on that, and they need to fix that. I don't think that is a big deal for them to fix for the Battle Royale. I think that's an education piece. I don't think that's like a game-changing piece that they need to change their game, because that is true to Battlefield and what it's been forever. So I respect that, and I actually prefer that, because at the very least, I can see what I'm looking at. I just can't full auto. I have to do some controlled burst if a target is at long ranges. Medium ranges, full auto, it's fine. I do think they could buff the precision on a lot of the guns. It seemed like it was basically only the AK-205 and what was that, the KST-100 Mark 8 or whatever it was, the KTS-100 Mark 8. It only seemed like there were a few guns in the game that you could full auto without having to tap fire. I think they could buff the precision on a lot of these guns, on the BR especially. But the other thing is moving inaccuracy. It is hard-coded into every Battle Royale player in the world, besides maybe PUBG players. Move while you shoot, especially Call of Duty players. And let's be honest, Battlefield is trying to steal Call of Duty players. In Call of Duty, we move while we shoot because it activates rotational aim assist. If you move in the slightest in a mid-range multiplayer gunfight, your bullets start spraying. Okay? Again, I think it's going to be an education piece that players need to learn to stand still while they shoot, just like they need to learn how to tap fire while they shoot. But in a Battle Royale with one life, if you need to stand still while you shoot and tap fire while you shoot, what happens when you stand still in a Battle Royale? You get your fucking head wigged off because snipers are going to be sitting across the map, not moving for 4 minutes at a time, waiting for you to stand still. So while I do think moving inaccuracy is, you know, very fitting to the way the Battlefield is played, just like it's very fitting to like the PUBGs of the world. And yes, in Call of Duty, we do have aim, walking steadiness. Call of Duty also has ridiculously powerful aim assist, especially compared to Battlefield. And they're also nerfing aim assist, which is a awesome thing. Battlefield is nerfing aim assist to make things more balanced. It is so egregious inside of the multiplayer. When that transitions over to the Battle Royale, I think a lot of people are going to be furious. And while, yes, I do think there is an education piece that can maybe help bridge that gap, I think it's so powerful, it's going to affect the overall health of the Battle Royale. And that's where I'm getting at with all this. It's not I'm saying Battlefield should be made a certain way. And I'm not glazing Battlefield and saying I agree with everything that they do. Like I said, for things like the tanks and helicopters, I hope that stuff is removed from things like ranked and competitive if they do something like that. But a lot of this, I want to open these conversations to be like, hey, you're going to be playing this in about a month. Be ready to pivot your gameplay because this is not Call of Duty. But at the same time, I capture a very, very tiny market. The YouTubers capture a very, very tiny market. The streamers, the mass of players who play this game, who aren't familiar with it, who are going to experience this for the first time raw, not going to have optimized settings. Battlefield, your default settings suck, by the way, especially for controllers. Please, for the love of God, fix that. Why is my dead zone set to like 20%? That's what concerns me. So this is not only a message to you all as a player, it's also a message to the Battle Royale team and the Battlefield team of, hey, I'm seeing these leaks online. I see the vision. I see the Battle Royale, the Battlefield identity. This shit looks awesome. I'm ready to main this for my content. But we might want to consider changing some of these things because we're adjusting some of these things and educating on some of these things because they're going to be so jarring off the bat to so many players. I think it could turn off players from an otherwise unbelievably promising, not only Battle Royale, but Portal ecosystem within that Battle Royale. Like, everything that I'm seeing for this Battle Royale looks incredible, but there are some things that are so... I think we need to. I think we need to have some conversations as a community and maybe take a look. And before we get on to that, because there are some more community conversations around this that I want to cover. The last thing is some people are just calling this a Warzone clone, and that grinds my gears so much. It's like any gun that has leaning is automatically a PUBG clone. Any extraction shooter is automatically a Tarkov clone. All of gaming, everyone's taking bits and pieces from each other. People are taking Resurgence from Warzone. People are taking redeploy mechanics across all the Battle Royales. Recon mechanics to see future zones. UAV mechanics to see where people are. Loadouts to make custom loadout. Like every Battle Royale is going to take bits and pieces of the best parts of each other. Yes, this is a first-person shooter Battle Royale inside a modern milsim combat. Okay, it's going to have some similarities to Warzone. But we're seeing destruction, which we don't have inside of Warzone. We're seeing vehicle combat when it comes to things like tanks and helicopters. We're seeing, it looks like there are role abilities. I'm not sure how deep that progression goes, but you could see on the HUD, people had icons next to their name for scout or for the recons, for the engineers, for the support, for the assault. So that might affect, you might have like one role per team, and that might create a whole new mechanic of how this BR is being played. I did believe I saw a screenshot. I didn't see gameplay, but I saw a screenshot of a loadout drop sort of thing on the ground. So I'm not sure how exactly that works. But yeah, there are going to be similarities to Warzone. But one, similarities aren't bad as long as you have your own identity. And two, Warzone at its core is not a bad Battle Royale. The number one problem with Warzone is lack of content. It's not even the anti-cheat issue. If Warzone was super fun, I would grit my teeth through running into cheaters. But Warzone's so boring. Like, I don't even play the game much anymore because what's the point of playing a game that's the same game I played 6 months ago, plus cheaters, plus uninspired game on a map that's 5 years old, you know? So even if it is similar to Warzone, if they're pushing content like it seems like they are, if we have the portal system to allow even more custom content, that's going to be amazing. And then it's adding additional things on top of it, unique to Battle Royale, like, or unique to the Battlefield universe. I legitimately, I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm going to have to go to COD Next this weekend, and I'm hoping COD Next pulls something out to surprise us. Call of Duty also is horrible at keeping secrets, and basically everything for Call of Duty Next seems like it's been leaked already in terms of multiplayer, zombies, a small map for Warzone. I have heard nothing promising for big map Warzone, and that scares the crap out of me because Call of Duty can't keep secrets. And if I've heard nothing about big map Warzone, that probably means nothing is coming to big map Warzone, and that scares me. And if that's the case, and Battlefield's doing what it's doing, and I'm loving 90% of what I'm seeing. 10% of it, I'm hoping, you know, this reaches the right people. I think I'll be a Battlefield BR main creator moving forward. And that leads to the final point of what do you want to see? Charlie Intel put out this tweet about a month ago. It says, what features do you want to see inside of Battlefield BR? And I want you to comment down below what you want to see. What do you think about my thoughts on the things that we talked about with the tanks, with the helicopters, with the movement? Talk to me about all that, about what you think, and we'll go over some of the stuff that I'm seeing here inside the comments, some of the most liked stuff. Immersive proximity chat. So Battlefield has proximity chat for your squad where you can actually be inside of a building, and when you talk through prox chat, it'll sound like it's coming through the operator who's in the building with you. That's in their multiplayer. I don't know if that's coming to Battle Royale, and that's only for your teammates. That's not available for chat with other players. So Battlefield has two bridges to cross. One, can they bring it to teammates like they do in the multiplayer? And two, can you bring it to prox chat? Because imagine, you know, a tank is out of ammo or something, and you're surrounding it with 4 RPGs, and you're yelling at the tank driver like, "Get out of the tank, you pansy!" Like, dude, there's or like, "I'm gonna blow your building up. You're camping inside. I'm gonna blow the wall out, and I'm gonna blow your back out." Like, there's so much good stuff. I do hope they add prox chat. I have no idea if that's coming or not. That would be awesome. Skill gap. I think things like not being able to full auto a weapon is a skill gap. I think some things when it comes to planting your feet and playing more around team play and aim rather than cracked movement and, you know, crappy servers and like Pika's advantage is better. I genuinely would enjoy that gameplay more than having to pop, you know, 50 mgs of Adderall to try to keep up with these 13-year-olds that are slide canceling across my screen like maniacs. So yeah, I do agree with skill gap side. Revives, ability to get custom guns. Like I said, I think there is loadouts. Building, he's trolling. Map cycling could be cool, especially with Portal. As we mentioned, we'll have eventually the ability in Portal to change weather, to change landscapes. I don't know if that'll come over to the Battle Royale. We'll have to see. Proximity chat would be awesome. One-shot bolt actions. One-shot snipers, I'm back and forth on. I think COD actually does it really well right now. Pubs let you do it. Ranked and competitive has a balance to it. We don't want a BR in Battlefield. We don't need one. Okay. Fortunately, we were getting a very fleshed out multiplayer. They are not sacrificing the development of the multiplayer for Battle Royale. The multiplayer has been very well fleshed out. They can also do modes on top of that. A lot of people wouldn't even be looking at Battlefield if it wasn't for the BR. So stick to multiplayer if that's for you. People are going to moan if it's not a Warzone competitor. We're already hearing that. Proximity chat, working anti-cheat. COD is copying a lot of the stuff that Battlefield's doing. We're having access to the secure boot, which is awesome. Something rewarding for the top 1% of players. Actually good ranked rewards. Proximity chat. Don't take away from the main game. Tac sprint or like a melee sprint like COD has. Punishing circles. I think we're going to have the fire zone, which is like if you touch the zone, you die. So I think that's going to be awesome. Some kind of redeploy. I actually don't know if one tweet mentioned redeploy units. So there might be some ways to redeploy across the map. Classic looting. There are loadouts though. So I don't know how they're going to balance that, but talk to me down below. Comment. What do you think? What are you thinking about the Battle Royale? If you've seen some of the leaked gameplay, obviously I can't share it because I will get DMCA'd, so I'm not going to share any of it. We can talk about what we're seeing in that gameplay, and I'm doing all of this for the hope that, one, there's some concerns that you're having that aren't legitimate concerns. The tanks are kind of ass. But two, hopefully some of the legitimate concerns that we have get to the team and are addressed before launch so that way we can have the strongest launch possible, because that's my concern. That's my hope. I really see the future for this game. This is the most excited I've been for content on a game since Warzone dropped in 2020. Like, I legitimately think Battlefield 6 is going to be not only life-changing for like the gaming community. I think content-wise for me and my channel, I'm so excited to make content on it as a brand and streamer. And yeah, man, I really hope the best for it. So let me know down below what you think about the Battle Royale, what you want to see change, what you want to see added, what you think about my commentary on it so far. And once again, check out the sponsor of a previous video, Fume. It'll be linked down in the pinned comment and description. They're a huge sponsor and supporter of the channel, trying to do them a solid. And hopefully this video does well. Hopefully you liked it. If you did, make sure to drop a like on it. We got some more commentary coming on COD Next. So if you want to see streams of COD Next, you want to see first commentary of COD Next, make sure to subscribe for even more. And of course, probably a lot of Battlefield 6 content as the main moving forward. So if you're excited for Battlefield 6 and especially the Battlefield 6 BR, I'm going in on that. Okay. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.